Welcome to Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm Jamil Damji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Pace Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
Enjoy the show!
So thank you so much for calling Wholesale Hotline. See ya. Wow, that's great.
Okay. We are live. Guys, you have just me tonight. I think everybody else has something going on. And so I'm going to hold down the fort, do my best. Welcome everybody to Wholesale Hotline. I have no idea what episode this is, but I think we're really close to 5 years of Wholesale Hotline. So pretty exciting. I haven't been part of that the whole time, but excited to be part of this group. Love the opportunity to spend time with Pace, Jamil, and Brent. They're just people I respect tremendously. They really have a heart for helping others, leading, being a voice for this community, and really just outstanding people that I just have so much respect for and admiration for and feel blessed to be friends with and a part of. And all of you. So guys, thank you for joining, and put your comments in the chat. I'm going to be spending an hour and a half with you guys, and we're going to have a great time here. I want to talk about whatever is on your mind. Notice I got the cowboy hat on. I'm in Tennessee. Those of you that don't know, we moved from Puerto Rico after 4 years in Puerto Rico. We moved last week to a homestead in Knoxville, Tennessee, south of Knoxville, about 40 minutes. On a 30-acre property. And in our first week here, we got 4 bunnies, 4 ducks, 25 chicks in a brooder for laying eggs. And what else did we get? 2 barn cats in our first week. So we're doing the whole farming animal thing here. So guys, can you hear me all right? Guys, leave a comment in the chat if you can hear me okay. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear the audio all right. We're doing good here on the tech side. I don't really have tech control here, so we're going to wing it without a whole lot of tech on this episode. So good. Awesome. All right, guys, I saw a couple of comments already right out of the gate. So I love that you guys come here to learn, ask questions, get help with things you're stuck on. So this is a great format for that. And since I'm flying solo here, I definitely want to spend time with you guys on the things that matter to you, the things maybe you're stuck on or need help with. And so Mo D, I don't have a way to pull up your comment, but I see your comment here, one of the very first comments. So you got here early and put this comment in here about proof of funds. So let me take a minute here and talk about proof of funds. So there's a lot of misunderstandings about proof of funds, both from wholesalers and from sellers and agents. Proof of funds typically only comes up with agents. Most sellers don't know to ask for proof of funds. That is unless they get educated. Now, I educate sellers on proof of funds. And what I mean by that is one of the ways that I separate myself from the competition is I help the seller understand what a legit contract looks like, what a real buyer looks like, what things to be aware of and to beware of. And because a lot of wholesalers like to have a very loosey-goosey contract with sellers, they want a very non-committed contract, a very one-sided contract. So it's all in favor of the wholesaler and not in favor at all to the seller. And so a lot of sellers are naive and they just don't understand that. So they'll sign contracts with wholesalers where there's $0 or $10 or $100 earnest money. I just did a video today all about earnest money and how to do that the right way. They'll put unlimited contingencies or contingencies all the way up until closing. They'll have a lot of weasel clauses and ways out of the contract. And the reason is if they can't find a buyer for that deal, they want to be able to get out of the contract without any repercussions. Now, I don't think that's a good way to operate. That's not how I operate. In fact, I go the other way and I'll use terms of the contract to really make myself stand out in the group. So if a seller says to me, hey, I got another offer here that's higher than yours, I'll say, great, let's take a look at that. I hope you can get the most money for your deal. But not all contracts are created equal. Not all terms are created equal. It's not just price, Mr. Seller, that you want to look at, but you also want to look at the viability of the contract and the viability of the buyer, because what you really want is certainty, because it doesn't matter how much money somebody offers you. If that never gets to the closing table, it's still zero, right? So I'll say, let's take a look at it and let me help you understand some things. And I'll say, are there contingencies? Okay, let's look at those. Is there earnest money? Let's look at that. Can they prove that they have the money? It says cash. Can they prove that they have the cash? So these are some things that are really important. Now, with agents, they know better, so they typically ask for those things. They'll say, hey, you have to put down a substantial earnest money. You have to have a proof of funds. So they know better, so they'll make sure that those things are there to protect the seller and make sure that you're a legit buyer, or to legitimize your offer at least somewhat. So whenever I get questions about proof of funds, it's usually coming from an agent. Now, there are two types of proof of funds. There is a soft proof of funds, which is a letter, which is basically a pre-approval. Now, a soft proof of funds does not guarantee funding for a specific property, because a lender cannot underwrite or guarantee or provide that unless you have an executed contract and you submit that and they underwrite the deal, and then they give you a full approval, right? That would be a full approval, or a hard proof of funds would be, here's the address, here's the dollar amount. I, lender, will stand behind this, this buyer for this funding, right? That's a hard proof of funds. There's another hard proof of funds, which would be a copy of a bank statement. Now, people are always like, hey, where do I get a bank statement? Hey, where do I get a bank statement? Well, agents aren't stupid. They're going to tie the name of the buyer on the offer to that bank statement. So you can't just provide any bank statement. Most agents will not take that. They'll be like, hey, this bank statement says Jerry Norton, but your offer says John Doe. So how are you two related? And why are you giving me some random proof of funds, right? So that becomes an issue sometimes. 90% of agents, I do a lot of agents. I've been doing the agent model for 20 years. In my experience, about 90% of agents will accept a soft proof of funds. So it's a letter, it checks a box. They say, okay, we got that. I'm not really worried about if the lender actually has the money or if they're going to fund the deal, none of that. I can check the box and we can move on with the offer. 10% of agents are going to have an issue with a soft proof of funds, and they're going to want something more substantial, something hard. Now, what I tell that agent when that happens is I'll say, look, I can't go to my investors. I can't go to my lenders that fund my deals unless I have an executed contract. So I'll tell you what, let's put a contingency that gives me 5 days or whatever, 6-7 days. If I can't give you a proof of funds, then we can terminate the contract. I need the contract so I can go to my investors and get the proof of funds that you're asking for. It's the chicken before the egg. How can I give you a proof of funds for my lender if I don't have an executed contract to show them? Right? So that's a hard proof of funds. If you're looking for a hard proof of funds, that's really the way that you want to do that. Okay, so I offer in Flipster, if you're a member of my software Flipster, if you're a pro or prime level, the two higher levels, we give unlimited custom proof of fund letters. So it'll have your name on there, it'll have the address of the property, and you can do as many of those as you want. We provide those. They can call and verify. But again, it's a soft proof of funds. I'm not underwriting or promising to fund your deal. It's basically from my lending institution that says we have a relationship, and if the deal qualifies, we'll fund the deal, right? It says something to that effect. Soft. Again, 90% of agents don't have a problem with that, and you can use that and it works great. The other 10% of the time, you could use that contingency strategy I just shared, or get some cash in a bank account and show them that, or somehow tie your entity or your buyer name, somehow bridge that gap between a proof of funds letter that you might get from somebody else. Okay. Does that make sense? So do you understand the difference between the two, soft and hard proof of funds, when to use that, how to use that, when it becomes an issue, when it doesn't become an issue? I kind of did a bit of a deep dive on that. Let me know if that answers your question. And I'm just going to check real quick, guys, if you have other questions around proof of funds. So guys, before we move off that topic, let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about proof of funds. And I'm just kind of perusing through real quick. Hopefully that nailed it pretty hard. Jim says, love the cowboy hat. Yeah, I'm really digging the farmer cowboy country vibe here in Tennessee. I thought I was living my best life in Puerto Rico, but I think I've upped it here in Tennessee. I'm really happy here. It's really great. Okay. So, yeah, just Jerry tonight, guys. Yeah, the others are tied up. Maybe they'll come on, maybe they won't, but we'll have a good time either way. Okay, so I think I hit that proof of funds pretty good. Let me see what else we can get to. Awesome. Yeah, so Neo Jason, which by the way, thanks for being such an active participant on my channel. I see your comments all the time. Neo Jason 83, so I appreciate you. It says, Mo, if you have a good relationship with your cash buyer, they might be able to provide you with a hard proof of funds. That's another way that you can do it. If you pre-sell, I call that, or sometimes we call that reverse wholesaling. If you're working with a specific cash buyer, then you could go to your cash buyer and say, hey, I think I found a deal that fits. Do you like the deal? Great. The agent is looking for proof of funds. Can you provide that for me? And you tie that all together somehow. I don't do that strategy a lot because if you do that, then you're committing your deal to that cash buyer and they may not be the best cash buyer for your deal, meaning the price that they are willing to pay might not be the highest price that you can get in the market. So, again, guys, you do what you have to do or what you can do until you get better tools or you get better access to things. Okay. I think about earnest money the same way. I can come in with what I call hot and heavy and offer a $10,000 non-refundable earnest money and blow away everybody else's offers with a non-refundable, big earnest money. Why? Because I can. Now, could I always do that? No. For many years, I wasn't able to do that. Or for a long time in the beginning, I wasn't able to do that. So I did what I could until I could do better. And that's how you really develop and grow in this business. You'll want to keep progressing, though, so that you can play in the big leagues. Guys, the players in the industry, in your market, in your backyard, wherever you're transacting, they're always going to have an advantage over the smaller players because they have bigger marketing, they have better systems, they have better closers, bigger teams, more capital, and they can do things that you can't do maybe in the beginning. So what do? You fight and you claw your way until you can. That's what you do. That's what I did, and that's what you're going to have to do. Okay, let's see. Wholesaling in New York, suspect. Yeah, question here about wholesaling in New York. New York is a challenging state to wholesale in. Okay. Cold calling. Ryan Brucker. Hey guys, I'm ready to start cold calling. I also bought a Mojo dialer. I'm just having trouble figuring out how to get numbers to not be listed as spam. Okay. I mean, it's always better if you're going to be cold calling in a market if you can set up a phone number that matches the market. Because I don't know about you, but when I get a phone call and I don't recognize the area code, I don't answer the phone. And a lot of people are that way. So one way to really help yourself would be to match that. So maybe get a Google number or find a way to get a number that's local. Whereas I'm from Michigan, so I'm 248. And so if I'm doing deals in Michigan and I'm calling and they see 248, my chances of getting answered are way higher than when I'm calling in another market and they don't recognize my cell phone. So one trick that I'll do is I'll do the double dial, triple dial, which means if they don't answer, call right away again, call right away again. That really works well. I'll also follow up with text right away and say, hey, I just tried calling. And so sometimes they won't answer the phone, but if they see a text right away, they'll be like, okay, that was the person that just called. And now I'll call them back, right? So those are some ways that'll help you with that. Okay. Okay. So Alexis says, Jerry, what are your thoughts on registering as a wholesaler in Indiana as of the new rules? Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, follow the rules, guys. As regulation comes out or as rules are set in your market, follow the rules. I would never say don't follow the rules. I see that advice given out there like, nothing will happen or you won't get caught or they're not enforcing it. That's a terrible advice. Guys, do the right thing, whether you agree with it or not. If you don't agree with a law that's passed, there are proper channels to fight that, right? You can create case law and sue against the law and go through the courts. You can reelect people and you can tell your elected officials that you don't agree with it. But guys, what you can't not do, or you can, I guess, mean, you could do anything till you get caught, right? But I say follow all of the rules to the T. Be the one that rises above everybody else when it comes to morals, ethics, and doing the right thing, whether you agree with it or not. There are a lot of laws I don't agree with. I don't agree with paying 37% in federal taxes, but I still do it, right? Even though I don't agree with it, because bad things happen when you don't. So yeah, Indiana passed a law regarding how you market. And guys, I have a breakdown of all of these regulations. If you go to wholesalercontracts.com or wholesaleregulations.com, wholesaleregulations.com, you can get a free PDF that I keep where it's got all the states and a breakdown and a summary of the laws. But Indiana's law is centered around marketing, and it's any type of marketing. So it's print marketing or digital marketing. You have to disclose in there somewhere that you are a unsolicited, or what is it called? It's a unrepresented or unlicensed professional, I think is what it is. Something to that effect. Basically, if you don't have a real estate license, they want you telling the public that you're not licensed, as if somehow licensed people are, I don't know, they follow some kind of ethics or something. I don't understand why they passed that law, but it was a bunch of agents. So you get it, right? If you have a license, you can do whatever you want. If you don't have a license, you have to disclose that you're an unprofessional or whatever it is. So that's Indiana, right? So again, you can check that out. Go to wholesaleregulations.com and I'll give the specifics on that. Okay, Jerry, was your homestead a creative deal? No, it wasn't. But I'll tell you, this property was a really hot property. There were a lot of people after it. And because I knew how to work with the agent, I got the deal and no one else got the deal. And of course, I double dipped. So I went directly to the listing agent and I told that listing agent, I said, look, I got to wrap some stuff up in Puerto Rico. I want this property, but I don't want to buy it if I don't have to just yet. So I need you to be my champion in the corner here. And I need you to make sure that this doesn't slip away from me. And I need you to make sure that when I need to jump, I jump and you're on top of this. He's like, I get it. I hear you. And that's exactly what I'll do. So I kind of kept it in limbo for as long as I could. And then I get a call from him and he says, we're getting an offer. I'm getting an offer from a buyer's agent here pretty soon. You better come in and you better get your offer in. And he sort of coached me on what I needed to do. And so then I came in committed and we got the deal and I bought it. So I still haven't sold the Puerto Rico property. So that's up for sale right now. And we've got a couple of people that are, I think, kind of serious about it. So no, I wish it would have been. Of course, I offered that, but the seller wasn't up for that. So, and this is a one-of-a-kind property. Like I looked really hard for homestead properties that had a big house with a lot of square footage on at least 25 acres, close to a metro. I did a video all about like the perfect homestead. So if you guys are interested, you could check that video out on my channel. But when this came up, I was like, this is it. I've never seen a property like this. And I'd been looking for quite a while. And I'd looked in like 5 or 6 states: Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, mostly those states. Okay. I want to be a wholesaler. Give me 5 must-have tools I need to start, Jerry. 5 must-have tools. I mean, honestly, there are lots of tools. I create tools that are my own tools that I offer out to anybody that wants to get in this business. There isn't a tool out there that I don't think I have or my team has developed or created. Now there's other ones that are just as good, maybe better. I don't know. But I've been at this so long and I've been educating so long that I know what people need to do this well and at a high level and provide those tools. Flipster is one of them. Flipster is my own CRM that we created in 2014. We've been building and updating and improving it ever since. It's awesome. If you go to joinflipster.com, you can check out a 7-day trial, see if it's right for you. Then there's a subscription. There's 3 different levels. You can check that all out. You can go to joinflipster.com to try that. But it's got everything you need. It's got your analyzer tools. It's got your proof of funds. It's got all your calculators. It's got tools for finding. It's got data. It's got skip tracing. It's got a dialer. It's got all of it. direct mail, all the marketing things. It's got a contact database, properties, on-market tools, off-market tools, like everything. So that alone, I don't know that you would really need anything else if you use that. Now, the problem is a lot of people, Flipster is like a Lamborghini that a lot of people use like a bicycle. So meaning they just underutilize just all the tools that are available there. But you could check that out. That's, I guess, a quick answer to 5 must-have tools. But honestly, you don't even need that. Like, you could do this business with literally almost 0 tools, especially your first handful of deals. So the reason why I don't like this question, or I want to caution you about this question here, Eddie Sports Money that asked that, is oftentimes we tell ourselves, well, I need tools, or I need training, or I need to know a little bit more. I need more education. I need this, I need that. And none of that's true. It's creative avoidance, meaning you're telling yourself you need something. And once you have that thing, then you can take action. And honestly, just pick up the phone and call agents on distressed properties, or go to propwire.com. It's totally free. Customize a stacked list, and you can skip trace it for pennies, right? And call it, and that's it. You know what I mean? So don't ever let tools or something stop you from doing the most important thing you can do, which is have quality conversations every single day. Until you pick up the phone and you talk to somebody, an agent or a seller, and you put an offer in front of them, nothing happens. Like, you do not get deals unless you make offers. And unless you make enough offers, you're not going to get deals if you can consistently get deals. The name of this game is offers, offers, offers. I have a challenge that if you make 5 offers a day, that's 25 a week, that's 100 a month, you will get a deal. The stars will align. A seller or an agent will say yes to your low cash offer, and you'll get a deal. Okay, but it doesn't happen unless you do the work and you're consistent about it. Okay, awesome, guys. Albert Perez says, hey, I have 2 properties that I would love to believe that I have in the bag, and need some questions to see if they are good deals. Yeah, so in the beginning, you sort of like, okay, I think I got a deal. I think I ran my numbers correctly. I'm not really sure if it is a deal. I wish I could have somebody look over my shoulder and tell me if this is a deal. Now, that's why a good mentor program, a good community, you can reach out and those people will be able to give you that support, right? Paid or free, there's paid and free ways to do that. Be part of somebody or something that can help you do that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to take the risk, sign the contract, get the deal. And then the only real way to know if you've got a deal is to put that deal in front of some buyers in your market, not 1 or 2, but enough. Get feedback from those buyers. And that feedback will tell you if you've got a deal or not. And one of the things you want to ask your buyers is, okay, so if you don't want this deal, why not? And if I could get this deal for you, what price would it need to be at for you to commit and buy this deal? Now that'll get that buyer to tell you, well, I need to be at this price. If it was at this price, I would buy it. Here's why. It's on the wrong side of the street. It has a bad school district. It is only a 2-bedroom, not a 3-bedroom, whatever. They'll give you feedback that will help you learn. It's the best way to learn is feedback. Now, what we don't want to do is go lock up a bunch of contracts that we back out of. So how do you handle that? You definitely don't want to put a seller in a bad situation. I see a lot of wholesalers do that. I know wholesalers that close 1 in 10 contracts. That's terrible, terrible business. Don't do that. So do the very best you can. Get to the number you think is a good deal. A really quick gut check would be, are you at 40, 50% of the Zillow number? That's going to tell you you're in the right range, typically. Like if you're at 40% of Zillow, there's a 99% chance you got a good deal. Okay, if you're at 60, 70% of Zillow, you probably don't have a good deal, right? That's your gut check. Now, okay, you get the deal. You are about to sign a contract with a seller. Here's what I would do. Here's what I advise you to do. Say this to the seller. Say, look, I think this is a good number. I would really like to be about 20,000 lower than where we're at. I understand you can't go that low. Here's what I'm willing to do. Let's go ahead and sign an agreement. And once we get that agreement in place, I'm going to have a contingency in this agreement. It's going to give me 7 days or 10 days. During that 7 days or 10 days, whatever you agree, I'm going to do some due diligence, and I'm going to get my investors, my partners, my contractors, and we're going to really deep dive this property. And I'm going to really make sure that the condition is where I think it is. I'm going to really make sure that the value is where I think it is. But I need that window of time so that I can really make sure. If for some reason it doesn't fit, it doesn't match, it's not a deal, I can't make it work, I'll let you know right away. I won't drag you or string you along. I'll let you know. I'll know in a couple days if this works or not. I can't do all of the work, Mr. Seller, to do the due diligence if I don't have an executed agreement with you, because I might waste my time. You might sell it to somebody else. And so we need that in place. That'll give me just a little bit of time. Let me do my thing. I'll work really hard at it, and I'll let you know. If for some reason it doesn't work at this number, I'll be totally transparent with you. I'll tell you exactly why, and we can go from there. Now, by doing that, what did I just do? Well, first of all, the seller may not agree to that. They may be like, nah, sharpen your pencil, then I'll sign. But if they do, then now you've disclosed to them what you're doing. They're fully aware that you're going to do better due diligence. You're going to deep dive it. Now, during that window of time, get a lot of eyes on it. Get feedback. Talk to buyers. Maybe you don't have, you could talk to contractors and say, hey, does this look about right on the repair number? Do the work, but not until you have an agreement in place, an executed contract. And don't do this unless you fully disclose to the seller what you're doing. Okay, so that's where that's okay to do. What's not okay to do is say to the seller, yeah, I'm a buyer. Yeah, 120,000 works. You have no idea if it works. Then you find out it doesn't work. You string the seller along. He's got the U-Haul packed in the driveway, and you back out on day 30, the day before closing. Like, that's not cool. That's shady. That's unethical. Don't do that. If you're transparent and you're fully disclosed to the seller what you're doing, then it's okay to do that. Okay, does that make sense? And so you've got to get the reps in. You've got to get the practice in. You've got to be willing to sign that contract, willing to commit, willing to put earnest money. Until you start doing that, you're not going to go through that learning curve you need to. Analysis is something where you can watch a lot of content. I put out a ton of content about how to analyze deals. I know Jamil does as well. Jamil's like the king at analyzing. He's really good. Puts out a lot of content on his channel about how to comp properties to get really good at that. But you can only watch Jerry do it for so long before you have to do it on real deals that you have and get that practice in, and then go through the process of trying to dispo the deal and learn how to do that well. And this is where I call investing in your market. Pick a market, stick to it, really learn it inside and out. Take the time to understand the neighborhoods. Take the time to understand price per square foot, what the values are, how this town differs from that town next to it, how this neighborhood differs from that neighborhood. In my core markets that I do a lot of deals, I know inside and out the values. Why? Because I take a lot of time to learn those markets. That way, when deals come in, I'm like, I know that neighborhood. I know exactly what those houses sell for because I'm in the trenches and I take the time to learn that. Okay. All right. Awesome. Cars More and More. How do we sign up with you and your programs? So my mentor program is called FastTrack. It's a community. You spend time with me live right now. And we've been doing them in Puerto Rico. We'll see how often we keep doing them there at my hotel. And we do live training almost every single day of the week. It's really awesome. You get a lot of tools and resources and support with that. It's called FastTrack. You can go to you can go to fasttrackwithjerry.com. And that's my high level program that is designed for, that's if you're really looking to build a business. Now, if you're looking to just do a deal and make a few bucks, not for you. If you're looking to do it right, build a legitimate business that earns 6 figures and then 7 figures, that's what that program is. It's for people that are really serious about building a business that wholesales and flips. So what we do is we teach you on how to really set up the processes, the team, the systems, the tools, and then skip to the front of the line, like really get through that learning curve as fast as we can. And that's what that is. So that's fasttrackwithjerry.com. It's by application and interview only. So we are selective. It doesn't matter your experience or anything like that. What matters is, are you teachable and do you have the time and are willing to make the commitment to the program? If you're not, then let's wait till you are. Okay. Okay. Great question. Yeah, Kimmy says, boom, scorch the earth by educating. The government put crack in my blunt. That's an interesting way to name your login. I don't have a deal right now. There's a guy looking to sell supposedly as he won't let us see the property, but just trying to find something. Okay. So the government who put a crack in your blunt. Seriously, guys, that's the name of their thing. Like, it's in the chat right now. Like, okay. What I would say to this is, like, you got to have a lot of conversations every single day. Don't get hung up on, like, hey, there's this guy that might sell. I've been going over to his house every day. I've been knocking on the door. I've been calling him. I'd lie awake at night thinking about him. Like, don't. Guys, literally, you got to have conversation after conversation. You got to put in time every day talking to people, making offers. And the more time you chase a dead end or a lead not going anywhere, or you're putting all this effort into a maybe, supposedly one day somebody might sell, that's time where you could be having a quality conversation with a real seller that's motivated. So every minute you're doing something, you're not doing something else that might be more productive. Think about that. I think about this all the time. Every day I ask myself, is this the best use of my time right now? Now, sometimes that means, put the phone away and get on the floor and play with my kids or spend time with my wife. But when I'm in work mode, when I'm in business mode, I'm thinking about, is this $1,000 an hour work I'm doing? Because if it's $15 an hour work, then somebody else needs to do it so that I can focus on revenue generating activities. Revenue generating activities. You've got to do those every single day. And the highest revenue generating activities in our business are talking to sellers about and making offers. Like, that's probably the highest revenue generating activity you can do as a wholesaler. Are you the Lone Ranger tonight, Jerry? Yep. You guys are going to get me pounding it home for an hour and a half. Okay. Jerry, starting out in Oregon, which has its regulations starting July 1, creative title from Pace Jamil, unfortunately aren't servicing my area. How would you suggest to find a title company? Yeah. So a wholesaler friendly title company is absolutely critical. What I would do is I'd reach out to the other big wholesalers in your market, get on the Facebook group, say, hey, who's closing 10 or more deals a month, and what title company are you using? Boom, done right there. They're going to tell you, hey, this is the title company we use. They're amazing. If someone doing 10 deals a month is using them, they're probably pretty good. DJ Freet, F-R-E-I-T, DJ Freet. Yo, Jerry, starting out in Oregon. Oh, I think I just read that one. Oh, you put it twice. That's why. Missed the guys, but Jerry is a flipping genius. Thanks, Chester. Jerry, can you explain JV-ing? I wanted JV, but skeptical of working with someone I don't really know. And rightfully so. You should be skeptical of working with somebody you don't know. Okay, so when you JV, there are two ways to look at this. You could have the deal, and you're going to JV with another wholesaler on the dispo, so they have the buyers, or vice versa. You're a dispo JV person, and you've got connections to buyers, and you're looking for wholesalers that do acquisitions. And then you're going to help that acquisition wholesaler on the dispo side. Okay. Now, this is a really fascinating concept. I talk quite a bit about this. It's somewhat controversial because a lot of other people teach differently, but I'm a big believer in the beginning, and even as you go, to focus most of your attention on acquisitions. I think acquisitions is 90% of the business. It's the hardest part of the business because once you get a good deal, dispo is easy. Dispo is hard if you have a marginal deal or a bad deal. Dispo is hard because you got to work really hard to try to find a buyer. But if you get a good deal, dispo is easy. Even in this market, buyers trip over each other to get a good deal. When you put that good deal out to market, you'll have 40, 50 people wanting to see it, making you offers, sight unseen. Come, let me lock it up right now. That's what dispo should look like in this business. Go get a good deal, and dispo is easy. Now, having said that, if you don't want to do dispo, which a lot of people don't, they want to just get really good at one thing and then maybe bring that in-house later, then how do you do that? What I do is if I'm going to JV with another dispo wholesaler, I got the deal, I'm going to dispo with someone that's got a buyer. I will do this sometimes, especially if it's a market where I can't find a buyer or I don't know any buyers. Maybe I'll hook up with someone that's got a big buyer list I'll say, hey, I got this deal. Can we JV take this deal to your buyers? Now that JV partner will probably want exclusive rights, meaning they don't want to put in the work to find a buyer while you're also trying to find a buyer, or while you've also agreed to dispo with other wholesalers. Now you got everybody out there working the same deal. You're going to create confusion in the marketplace. There's going to be daisy chaining, they call that, going on, where everyone's marking it up. And when I see a deal offered by multiple people, all different prices, I lose confidence in the deal. Like I just am like, okay, I'm out. I don't know who is the contract holder. I don't know who all these people are. I don't know who I'm going to be dealing with. And I don't want any part of this mess, right? Like that's what I think. And a lot of buyers think the same thing. So make sure that buyer that you're working with is legit. I've got some JV agreements that protect you either side that you're on, so that you can make sure you're doing that the right way. Let me look up real quick, guys, the link to my JV contracts. I know I've got them here in my list of 50 some free things I give away. If I can't find it, guys, you can, reach out to me. I'll give that to you, but I know I've got it here. Give me 1 second, because I'll put this in the chat for you. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Got it. So I'm going to give you two things, guys, of JV contract and an NDNCA contract. And sometimes I'll use one or the other. I'll give them both to you guys so you can download those for free. And let me see if that went through. You guys should see in the chat right now. Yeah, I might put it. Oh, I failed to post it. Let me try it again. It might not let me for some reason. Okay. It's not letting me put that in there. But guys, if you want that, you could just shoot me a message and I'll give that to you. Okay. Guys, lots of participation in the comments here. You guys are amazing. I just love being able to spend time with you guys. So Lydia's asking, why did we move out of Puerto Rico? I live in Puerto Rico, but I would love to move to Pennsylvania. Well, I would have lived there forever. Probably. I loved it there. I mean, I just thrived in Puerto Rico. I bought a hotel. We run events there. I'm building an 11,000 square foot luxury house. I did flips there. I own lots there. I sold my ocean condo. Anyway, I've just done a lot there in 4 years, and just love the community I'm in. We drive around in golf carts. I hunt iguanas every day. I mean, it was just great, but I tend to be happy wherever I'm at, because happiness is a state of mind, not a place, I think. So, you could put me in a garbage dump and I'd probably find a way to be happy. Right. But my wife did not like Puerto Rico. It just never sat with her. She just didn't like it. And so she just put in her time, and we'd been there 4 years, and I couldn't ask her to stay there any longer. So we moved last week and came to Tennessee, and now we're going to do a totally new adventure. We're going to homestead. We're going to farm. We're going to do animals. We're going to do gardens. We're going to do self-sustaining. We have a lake on the property, and I'm really excited for my younger kids. I've got 5 under 12 still out of the 10 to really bring them up in farm life. So I want them outside. I want them off the iPad. I want them getting their hands dirty and get in the dirt and take care of animals. I want that experience. I had that growing up. I grew up in rural Michigan, and it just served me well. I feel like I really learned a work ethic, really learned to appreciate the outdoors. And anyway, I kind of want to create that for my next group of 5. So that's it. So now that we left, I don't get the tax incentive. So that's going to be fun to not have that. While I was in Puerto Rico, I only paid 4% in income tax. So it was pretty cool. Okay. Let's see. Just moving right along here. Okay. Leo Sawyer, maybe I said that wrong. Sorry, Leo. Asking about a license to wholesale in Ohio. No, you do not need a license to wholesale in Ohio. However, Ohio is exploring regulation. They used to be, before all these regulations came out about 5 years ago, they used to be a very challenging state to wholesale, meaning they reinforced the non-brokering. So if you did wholesaling wrong, then Ohio was right on top of that and you'd get in trouble. So meaning that you didn't have contractual rights and assigned your rights and all of that. So they definitely, treated that very seriously there. But again, there are some regulation right now. It has not passed through the state and Senate or the governor, but I'm tracking it. I'm keeping an eye on it. But I think probably this year, Ohio will come out with some sort of regulation, and it probably will be centered around licensing. So if I were you, Leo, and you're in Ohio, I would just get your license and be ready for it, so you're one step ahead. Okay, came here for motivation. This is Chris. Closed my first deal and 2 others last month, but nothing on the horizon since. Trying to keep the abundance mindset. Yeah. So Chris, part of the nature of the beginning is that roller coaster, right? You do a deal, you go no deals. You do a deal, you go no deals. That's a consistent thing, and that's a pipeline issue. The only way to solve that is you got to be thinking about your deals you're going to close in 90 days or in 6 months today. And when you turn that acquisition faucet on, you never turn it off. What tends to happen in the beginning is we get really busy with, getting a deal. Then we get the deal, and then we stop acquisitions and we focus on dispo now. And we work on dispo and we get that thing to the finish line. Yeah, it closed. I made $10,000. Now I'm going to go back to acquisitions and I'm going to start acquisitions again. And what you're doing though, is you're creating droughts, right? And that's going to be an up and down roller coaster. And so you've got to learn how to overcome that. No matter what you're doing, if you're not making offers every single day, you're not going to be getting contracts consistently, and you're going to hit those dry spells. And that's the kiss of death in this business. I had a buddy that was doing about 250,000 a year transacting, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I talked to him again after, not talking to him for a couple of years. And he told me, he said, yeah, I went back to my corporate job making 80 grand a year. And I said, dude, why would you go from making 250 wholesaling to 80 grand at a job? And he said, I couldn't handle the up and down. I couldn't handle the months where there was no money, and then the months where there was a bunch of money. It just was too stressful on me, on my family, on my wife. So I just went back to the paycheck every week. Now I was like, dude, fix your problem. Don't go back to the job like you were there. Like you just need to be consistent and make sure that pipeline doesn't dry up. Okay. Ryan says, feel like I am stuck on how to analyze a property to see if I'm able to cash flow with the right number in place terms, doing creative finance wholesaling. Okay, Ryan. Yeah, I feel you, buddy. Now I've put out a lot of content on my channel about how to wholesale creative. And I was really into that content quite a bit last year in 2024, 2023. Ever since the interest rates went up and creative became super hot, especially subject to where you could take over low interest loans. I've got mixed feelings today about wholesaling creative. And here's the mixed feelings I have. How do I say this? No matter what anybody will tell you, learning how to structure creative is advanced. The reason why it's advanced is because there's not just one or two things you look at. Like when we make a low cash offer, we're looking at two things. We're looking at value and repairs. That's it. So we can get our head around that, or at least it's easier to get your head around that. Creative, there's 10 things you have to look at, and they all work together. So some things might be good, some things might be bad. It kind of weighs itself in and out. You got to be looking at all kinds of things: interest rate, cash flow, net income. You got to be looking at balloons. You got to be looking at lien positions. You got to be looking at tax advantage. You got to be looking at all these things to go into structuring a creative deal. Once you structure it, you got to be looking at entry fee. Entry fee is a huge one. Is the entry fee too high? So that you can wholesale it and leave enough room for someone to want the deal. Anyway, there's a lot to kind of get your head around and understand. I feel like I've simplified it really quite a bit. I have a calculator tool where you put it all in there and it makes sure that you've got all the numbers. But you've got to learn how to understand income, cash flow, especially, put all the pieces together, know if it's a deal creatively. Once you structure a good deal, now you can take that to market. You know what to do to bring that to buyers where they're going to want that and be able to wholesale those creative deals. So here's what I would say. if you're new at wholesaling, I would be very careful not to get hung up on the shiny object syndrome of creative finance yet. Okay. Now, I'm not saying don't do it or there's not a place for it. There's not a time for it. Once you learn it, it opens up an entire world of opportunity because now you can structure deals that nobody else can structure or that don't fit for a low cash offer. So if someone's got low equity, no equity, or the price they want is higher than market value, creative is a way to structure a deal and still wholesale it and make money. Very valuable skill. Like I recommend every single one of you at the right time need to learn creative finance. Again, it'll open so many doors for you to do so many different deals. Even if you want to start holding property, then you've got that skill set. In the beginning, when you're doing your first couple of deals, I think I would probably advise you not to be trying to do creative. I would say wait, get a couple deals under your belt, get some transactions, get comfortable with the process, get comfortable talking to sellers, get comfortable finding buyers, get comfortable going to closings, transact a bit. When you feel like you've got your head around it a little bit better, maybe then start to deep dive or go into creative wholesaling. Okay. Tell me if you agree with that advice. Anybody listening to this? You may not, and that's okay too. This is just my 2 cents. So take it for what it's worth. Okay. Boy, I hope I can get to all you guys. I mean, for me, honestly, I love this part of the show where we really can dive into your questions because to me, this is what this show is all about, helping you get answers to the questions you have. Okay. Give me a second here, guys. Can you explain the takedown method? The takedown method is probably my number one strategy in 2025 and probably going into the future. The takedown method is a really complicated thing, guys. Here's what you do. You buy it and then you sell it. That's it. Good old fashioned buy it and sell it. That's the takedown method. Now, to elaborate a little bit, rather than find a predetermined buyer, or rather than find your buyer prior to purchasing, which would be an assignment, that would be a novation, and that would be a double close. What you do with a novation, a double close, and an assignment is once you get the deal, you start trying to find your buyer before closing. So if it's an assignment, you assign it at closing. If it's a double closing, you buy it, then turn around and resell it to your buyer, but you found the buyer ahead of time. And if it's a novation, you're marketed on the market and you find your buyer and you change your contract to the new buyer, right? All of those strategies are pre-selling to a buyer prior to taking ownership to the property. Now that right there, prior to taking legal ownership of the property, is what all the regulators are after. And my prediction is that sometime in the future, that will all get stopped. Novations, double closings, and assignments, they're going to stop that or highly regulate it and make it challenging and difficult. What nobody can ever have a problem with is you sign a contract as the buyer, you don't pre-market it before owning it, you don't find your buyer early, you close, you take title, you own the property, you perform on the contract, you did everything you said you were going to do. There's no disclosure because you were the buyer. There's no pre-marketing something you don't own, which people have an issue with. You buy it, then you turn around and you put it up for sale, typically on the MLS. You market the deal to the open market. You find a new buyer and you close 30 days, 45 days, 60 days later from when you bought it. That's the takedown method. Now, there's a way to do it. There's a way to run the numbers. There's a way to get 100% of the funding. We're offering that right now. There's a way to really kind of do this at scale and do this well. And that's what I'm really, into right now is doing it myself in my core markets and teaching wholesalers in the community, you guys, how to do the takedown method at a high level. The biggest thing that sets you back is funding because you have to buy the thing. And then you got to sit on that capital for 30, 60, 90 days till you resell it. So where do you get that funding? To me, it's a specialized type of hard money, and we're offering that funding. So guys, you could reach out to me and I'll give you the link if you want to apply for that funding or check that out. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question, Ed Cowley, who asked about the takedown method. And by the way, people call that wholetailing. I just renamed it because I think takedown sounds way cooler. and kind of rebranding it, kind of giving it a new spin, a new name, and doing some further education about how to do that at a high level. Okay. Yeah. Jim Hawkins said agents in Indiana are butthurt because we make more money. Guys, I mean, agents are so resentful of wholesalers because think about it. If you wholesale a deal for 100,000, you should make 10 grand. Okay. An agent at 3% commission makes 3 grand. So they're sitting there going, okay, you know, I'm over here, went through school, got educated, got licensed. I'm regulated. I got to pay dues. I got someone breathing down my neck, the REC. I got a broker questioning me every time I turn around, and I go out and I meet a seller and I list their property and I sell for 100 grand and I get 3,000. And here comes this wholesaler like a cowboy, and he gets the deal and he wholesales it and makes 10 grand. I hate that guy. This isn't fair. Wham, wham, cry, cry. I'm going to call the board on wholesalers. You know, instead of just like, well, you could do it. You could do it just as easy as I do it. It's not hard. You know, learn how to do it and you do it if you got a problem with not making as much money. Okay. Let's see. What's the difference between attorney state and title company state purchase agreement? It seems like I would need 2 different contracts for wholesaling. No, you don't. So it's not about your contract. An attorney state just says that attorneys have to close the transactions. It's all it means. And then other states are a title company that can close the transaction. So they don't have to be lawyers. That's all that means. So like South Carolina is an attorney state. So attorneys close those transactions and they're specialized closing attorneys. Really all it means is in an attorney state, you're going to pay a whole lot more because you got to pay for the attorneys, you know, martinis and their expensive lifestyles. And after all, they got a law degree. So you're just going to pay a lot more in an attorney state than you are in a title state. That's it though. Just understand what state you're in and use the right thing. Okay. Carson Walsh says it's not about age. It's about confidence and knowledge. Agents never ask your age. He might be responding to something I missed there, but love you, Carson. Thanks for participating. It's true though. You know, part of the reason why I don't get much pushback, like let's take agents, for example, they don't question my earnest money very much. Sometimes they don't ask for proof of funds. I don't get pushback about not physically going to showings. I don't get all that resistance. Why? Because I do such a good job having a conversation with that agent, portraying confidence, portraying that I know what I'm doing, know what I'm talking about. And so that confidence and that just skill set of doing this for so long, so well, that they know that I'm a legit player. And so then I don't get all the objections. So if you're getting lots of objections, it's because you're communicating in a way to that agent where they're like, I don't really know if I trust this guy or girl. It doesn't sound like they know what they're doing. They don't sound very confident. Maybe I better require that they physically see the property. Maybe I better require that they give me hard proof of funds instead of soft proof of funds. Maybe I better require a bigger earnest money. Maybe I better question who they are and what they're doing. Maybe I better ask them if they're a wholesaler and tell them I don't want to do it, right? All of that comes when they feel your inexperience, your lack of confidence, or that you don't know what you're doing or really how to handle yourself. So how do you get better at that? Reps, reps, reps. The more you do it, the better it is, the more natural you are, and the easier it becomes. So like I could talk to an agent anywhere, anytime about any deal and at least get that agent to make the offer for me. Very rarely am I not able to get an agent to make the offer for me, no matter how low it is. Why? Because I can just convince that agent as to why they should work with me. And that's the skill set you want to learn in this business. You want to keep doing the reps until it becomes easier and easier and easier for you and more natural for you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Nathan Harris, Jerry, if you put the comments on the screen, it increases viewer experiences. Yeah. The problem is I got no controls here. I'm just flying solo here. Normally Pace, Jamil, or Brent runs the live, and I'm just like here for the ride, having a good time. So yeah, we're lucky it's working at all, and we're on live. Okay, Chris says, how do you go from attacking each deal individually to creating a constant flow of deals so I can count on steady income? Well, I mean, what I'm hearing there is where I see a big problem with a lot of new wholesalers is they spend way too much time on deals per deal, and they overanalyze. I mean, guys, I'm doing 30-second analysis, and then boom, I'm putting an offer. I'm low anchoring to a seller or an agent. So like I get through the analysis very quickly. I'm ballparking, right? And to uncover motivation, because I don't want to spend time on analysis if I don't even have a motivated seller. What I want to do is uncover motivation first. And the way I uncover motivation is I can ask questions, but the real way to uncover motivation is to put a low offer in front of them and see how they respond. If they respond favorably, okay, now I know they're motivated. Now I can deep dive more, right? So the last thing you want to do, or the way that you will kill yourself in this business, is to spend an hour, half an hour, 2 hours analyzing deals. Okay, that's going to just take way too much time. You're never going to make enough offers to get any traction. Okay, Jerry, I'm reaching out to you about a property in Puerto Rico. I work with a group of investors in the area who buy all cash. Would you be interested? No, I just do deals in Palmas del Mar, really. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've done some other deals outside of there, but I'm not really looking to grow more deals there right now, other than in my community where I live, because I know that market inside and out. Okay, let's see here. Okay, keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean in the comments. Okay. Yeah, does Flipster allow you to send contracts to the seller? Yeah, we have digital contracts right in there. Fill it out, takes you 30 seconds, boom, send it off right to the seller, just like a DocuSign. Yep, built into the platform. You don't have to pay more for that or anything. Okay. Hey, Jerry, it's Jay. What do you tell an absentee owner when they ask, how did you get my phone number? Okay, so I just say to them, look, we're looking to buy a home in the neighborhood, and we looked up everybody who lives in the area to see if people want to sell their homes. We've got some money set aside to buy a house this week and want to see if you're interested. Love to give you an offer, right? Like, just don't overcomplicate it. You know, how do they get your number? Well, we're trying to talk to everybody in the neighborhood to see who wants to sell. We're looking to buy a house in the neighborhood. So we looked you up. Your information's on public record. You know, that's the truth. That's really what you did. Okay. Jerry, I find and assign deals in Oklahoma. How can I send my deals over to you to look at? I would love to do business with you long-term. Well, I have a finder program. It's called 10K Club. If you go to my10kcheck.com, you can register for a free training. You can learn all about that program. Those deals I buy. So if you're in that program, you submit the deal. My team reviews it. If it meets my criteria, I step in, buy it, pay you $10,000. It's really cool. So again, go to my10kcheck.com if you want to submit deals to me and I be your buyer. What's nice about that is you don't have to worry about the buyer. I'll step in. I don't care if it's on market, off market. So you got a lot of flexibility there. If it doesn't fit, like if you put a deal in and it doesn't work, we explain to you why. We explain to you where it needs to be. So it's also a learning experience so that you can get better at getting good deals. Okay. Let's see. Okay. There's a lot of questions here, guys. In the interest of time, I'm just going to try to move through to some stuff I think is good. Isaac says, Jerry, why Tennessee? And has it really been 4 years? How are you dealing with giving up those tax benefits? Yeah, it's really been 4 years. I know it flew by, went fast. Man, I wish there's just so much more I wanted to do. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Felt like a time machine for me because think about it, guys. Not only was I saving millions in taxes, but I was able to reinvest that money rather than pay it to the federal government to blow it on who knows what. Now that that's all coming to light, like, where's all this money going? This is ridiculous. So I'm glad my money hasn't been going to, Cambodia to to teach transgenders in Cambodia or whatever things are going on, not even in our own country. But yeah, it's been awesome. The reason why Tennessee, first of all, Tennessee has no state income tax, so that's a little bit better coming from Puerto Rico. But really, it was more about the property, because I would have gone to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe Texas. But why Tennessee? Primarily because we found the property that we absolutely loved, and we made the decision around that mostly. And I love Knoxville too. I mean, we're right at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. So, I mean, I just couldn't have got a better deal than this. Okay. Question. This is Davidian Jones. Should I be concerned about people trying to call my seller and steal the deal from me, even though I have it under contract? How do I deal with this? Okay, that's usually a concern that's never actually legit. It's more of a fear. It's more of the boogeyman. Very rarely does that happen. I mean, it does happen. It has happened. But you can't run around worrying about somebody stealing your deal. You have a contract with a seller. The seller could go around you. A buyer could go around you. I call that backdoor. They could backdoor you. A seller could contract with another buyer for a higher price, pick a different title company, and close right out from under you. That happens. If you're new to this business, though, that's the least of your worries. Like, go get a good deal and don't worry about the what ifs and the 1% chance that happens. You can file a memorandum. Be very careful about those. Those are getting a lot of scrutiny right now. Don't keep it on there forever. Don't hijack the seller. Don't do any of that stuff. A lot of people are doing that. And pretty soon memorandums are going to be illegal too. You're seeing a lot of states pass laws that prevent you from doing that. What that does is it clouds title so the seller can't sell it to anyone else. Makes sense. I do them. I teach how to do that. But again, don't hold the seller hostage with that memorandum, okay? Okay. Tracy Thornton, if you have a small market, should I choose 2 markets? I think to have enough opportunity, you need to be in a major metro that is around 1 million in population. So here's my criteria. You can drive there in an hour, so an hour radius, and in that hour radius, about 1 million people. Now, it could be 500 or whatever, but you want a big enough market to have enough opportunity. I don't like getting outside of an hour when I'm looking at deals from a major metro, and I don't like being in a population that's too low. There are some exceptions there. If you are in a low population market, maybe expand out, maybe look at another market. But again, the problem with rural is you just don't have enough opportunity. That's the problem. Okay. Yeah, Tyler says, do you still do the $10,000 checks? Yeah, we still send those babies out. Yeah, if you want one, get in that Finder program and bring me a deal. Okay. Emmanuel Garcia, how are you doing, buddy? Great question here. Where'd it go? I'm struggling finding comps. Is it more relevant to go more further out in distance or farther back in time? This is tricky. This is an interesting question here. First of all, if you're struggling to find comps, I'm guessing that you're rural. And rural is going to be an issue because of finding accurate data. Because the further away you go and the further back in time you go, the less relevant the data. So what that means is it means now you're doing some guessing because you don't have accurate data. I want accurate data. If I can't get accurate data, I got a problem. And no data is the same as bad data. Okay. Now, having said that, I'll expand my searches. So I'll go outside the neighborhood a little bit further away. Maybe I'll go out a little bit in time, but I'd rather go a little bit further away and try to stay similar to the subject property, I think, than go too far back in time, Because if I go too far back in time, it's just a different market and market cycles. And, so ideally I want to stay in the neighborhood. I want to stay 6 months old. That's my sweet spot. I know if I can get data that's 6 months or newer and within half a mile or in the same neighborhood, I know that data is going to be fairly accurate and I can have some confidence in my numbers. As soon as I start pushing out of that, then I'm guessing. So when I start guessing, I just got to be way more conservative. I've got to build in a buffer for that inaccuracy or the irrelevancy. That makes sense? So think about that. Think about relevancy and accuracy when you're comping. Okay. Sergio, great question. Do you answer business calls while having family time? No, I don't. I try not to. I'm not perfect at it. But I don't believe in balance. I believe in compartmentalizing. So what I do is I try to compartmentalize my life. So I have windows of time. And when I'm doing the thing in that window of time, I try to be 100% focused and present. So for example, let's say that I have a half an hour with my kids, my younger three, right? That they're 4, 5, and 7, and I'm with them. I could be with them for 2 hours, but if I'm on my phone the whole time and I'm like, yeah, get out of my face. That's not quality. That doesn't count. That's not meaningful. So 2 hours of uncommitted time, undedicated time, distracted time is worse than a half an hour of totally present, looking in their eyeballs, on the floor, on my knees, at their level. That's quality time. That's more meaningful than 2 hours at the park where they're off on the swings and I'm over on my phone or talking to somebody. That's not quality time. That doesn't give you, there's no value in that time. I mean, maybe some, but not much. Okay. So I compartmentalize. When I'm with my wife, I try to be with my wife and I'll be 100% with my wife. When I'm working, I try to be 100% working. Now, do I get distracted and do I have distractions? Yeah, everybody does, but I try to really compartmentalize my life so that I have the buckets of time and I focus on the thing I need to focus on. And when I'm on work, I'm all in. Like I'm on, Okay. Miguel Swift. Hey, Jerry, I know you talk a lot about waiving inspections sometimes. How do I use that when doing my wholesaling, if I can at all? Okay, so inspection contingencies create some friction in your offer. What that means is it means if I'm going head to head with competition and all things are equal, everything else is equal, and I have a 10-day inspection contingency and the other offer has no inspection contingency, which one do you think is going to win out the deal? The one with no inspection. So knowing that inspection could create a weaker offer, I'm cognizant of that. I'm aware of that. I recognize that. Now, it doesn't mean I waive my inspection every single time. I use it as a negotiation tool. I use it as a way to create a competitive advantage in the marketplace. So when I'm talking to a seller and he says, I got 5 offers on the table, tell me about your offer. Okay, I know I'm up against other people. I know I'm dealing with competition. This is most of the time you're dealing with competition. So I often will not compromise price, but I will compromise terms of my offer. I'll put bigger earnest money. I'll waive inspections. I'll close sooner, right? I'll do things that can really make my offer stand above the rest. And inspection is one of those. Now, be very, very careful, because if you have earnest money on the line and you waive your inspection and you have no contingencies and you don't perform on that contract, you're going to lose your earnest money. So I know the risk and I take the appropriate risks. So that's what I would tell you. Know the risks of waiving inspection and take appropriate risks and own your choice. So if you waive inspections and you put down a $5,000 earnest money and you can't get the deal done and you lose your earnest money, own it. You made that choice, own it. Can't complain about that. You made the choice, you own it. Make the bed and sleep in the bed you made, right? So that's what I do. Have I lost earnest money? Sometimes I have. I try not to. I look at every deal where if I can't do plan A, I have a plan B, which is usually buy it. Okay, Jerry needs to star in a cowboy movie. You liking the cowboy vibe? I'm loving the cowboy. I'm a hat guy, so now I get to, I never could wear. I wore Puerto Rican hats, that kind of fit the Caribbean. So now I'm super excited to wear cowboy hats, and I can kind of pull it off because I'm on a homestead with animals, so Okay, let's see here, guys. We got about 20 more minutes. Okay. Don't move to Pennsylvania. Our taxes are stupid. Yeah, I know. Okay. Some of these questions I answered earlier. So Jay Elise, in your 10K club, are members able to make multiple deals with you per month? I want to join in order to build revenue and do wholesaling on my own without worrying about EMD when asked. Yeah, we don't have any kind of limit on how many you can do. So as long as they're deals, we'll keep buying them. Richard, I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. I've gotten zero traction. I'm trying to think out of the box. I would not think out of the box. I would just stick to the basics, like really dumb it down. Dumb it down, okay? In this business, you have free methods to find deals. You have low-cost methods, and you have expensive methods. In the beginning, I recommend free and low cost. The best free method is agents. Doesn't cost you anything. What it does require is talking to a lot of agents. I put out a video where I teach a method I really believe in called the 555 method. You're going to make 5 offers on listed properties. You're going to call 5 agent outreach, cold outreach to 5 agents, and you're going to do 5 follow-ups. That's 15 touches, 15 conversations every day. It takes about 3 hours. If you do that, Richard Acevedo, you will get a deal. It may take you a month or so, but you'll get a deal, right? But the reason why you're not getting a deal, in my opinion, is you're overcomplicating it and you're not doing the thing that matters most, which is having quality conversations with agents or sellers and putting offers in front of them. It's impossible not to get a deal if you do that enough, and enough meaning every single day. Okay. You will get a deal. You just got to put it in, put it to practice and do it. I promise you'll get a deal. Okay. Does your programs cater to newbie? I am a real estate agent in New York City, but all I do is rentals. Yaya la curandera. If you're an active real estate agent, you'll have no problem transitioning into wholesaling. You've already got some of the basic things out of the way. You understand what a contract is. You understand what a closing is. Some of the very basic things about real estate, you already know how to do it. You're a real estate agent. Hopefully you understand how to look at values. It depends what kind of agent you were. And if you learn that skill, I'm surprised how many agents don't know how to comp properties, but you should have a good jump start on wholesaling. If you come from the agent world, you should be able to really quickly transition into wholesaling, and you'll never go back again once you learn wholesaling as an agent. Like, you just won't. You won't run around and show buyers properties that tire kickers. You won't do any of that anymore ever again. And you won't be happy making 3% on a commission. You're going to want to make 25 grand a deal, right? Or whatever. Okay. Christian Mirabal. Hey everyone. I'm new to this and only found about this industry about a month ago. Not sure where to start and how to get going in wholesale without capital. Second kid will be born in 2 weeks. Attaboy, Christian. Way to go, dude. Congratulations. Bringing children into the world has been the greatest blessing in my life. And you're about to enter into a fun, exciting journey. You're going to enter the honeymoon phase where you're learning so much and it's thrilling and exciting and you love it. And then you'll get through the honeymoon stage, and then it'll be a grind. It'll be tedious. It'll be boring. It'll be monotonous. You'll get sick of it and you'll quit. At least that's what 90% of people do. So maybe you won't, Christian, but that's what most people do because they can't stomach through the boring slog of it all. The ones that do go on to be 6-figure, 7-figure, multi-million-dollar producers. Many of them transition into other real estate and do development and commercial and build portfolios and completely change their life. But only the ones that can make it through the slog and the boring and the grind and the hard and the rejection. Most people can't, which is why we have high attrition. Most people quit because they don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the staying power. And as soon as it gets hard, they find something easier, or they think they'll find something easier. Okay. So Christian, I want to know where you're at in a month from now, in 6 months from now. Okay. License in Missouri. Okay, this is a great question. Times Masquerade. Jerry, if I get my license in Missouri, would I then have to get a license for each state I do business in? Member of your 10K club. Awesome. So you only need a license where you transact, not where you live. It doesn't matter where you live. It matters where you transact. So if where you're transacting requires a license, then you would need a license in that state where you're transacting. Okay, so understand the laws. Make sure whatever market you're going to do deals in and start marketing in, that you know the licensing requirements. And if it requires a license, you get a license. You're inspiring, Jerry. So is Brent. Thank you. Beat up. Don't be beaten up. Tyler Hart, would you agree you should do both? I'm not sure what that is. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, Jerry, where is the best place to get a PML, private money lender, for the car wash in California? I am trying to buy on seller finance. I have the money, but I need it lent on this deal. I need $2 million and the seller carry $3.5 million. Okay. So real steezy deezy. Your guys' names are hilarious. By the way, I would not name yourself that because you want to be recognized on here. You want to be able to squat up in the comments. I would use your name. Like you guys that have these weird names here. Like Keith Warren. I love you, Keith. He said, agree 100% on that. When I see Keith Warren, I know who Keith Warren is. I start to recognize him, and he can start to gain traction on these lives and in any of this social media stuff. So anyway, real steezy deezy, who's trying to buy a multi-million-dollar car wash, and you need PML. Okay, so here's what I would say. A lot of people in this business are chasing deals they're not ready to do. I don't know. Maybe I should be careful how I say this. Here's what I want to say, and don't take this the wrong way. I hope I don't offend you by saying this. But if you're trying to do a $3.5 million deal and you're asking how to find private money, you probably shouldn't be doing a $3.5 million deal. If you're doing a car wash commercial deal at that level, that's next level, right? You're now in a college level on a maybe where you're still in elementary in real estate, right? You should know how to raise private money if you're trying to put together a car wash deal. You should know who to talk to, how to structure, where to go, what to say, how to present it, how to build an offering. You need to know all those things. Coming on a wholesale hotline show and saying, where do I find PML to buy a $3.5 million car wash, is communicating to me that you may not be ready for putting a deal together like that. Okay. I hope that wasn't offensive. I'm just trying to be real about it. Okay. Yeah. Lay Atua first said, Jerry, I recall you saying you and your family move every 3 years. Is that correct? If so, why? My husband and I are curious. Yeah. Every 3 to 5 years, I pick up and move to a completely new market, usually a new state. And I do that intentionally. And the reason why is because if you're still in your hometown where you grew up, then you're way too comfortable. You know everybody knows you. You're hanging out with your high school buddies from 20 years ago or whatever. And there's no real growth, and you're not making new friends probably. When you move to a completely new state, you put yourself in a very uncomfortable situation. You got to find all new everything, new restaurants, new doctors. You got to make new friends. You got to join new groups. You got to network with new people. You got to step outside your comfort zone. You got to learn a new market. There's a lot that goes into that. Every time I pick up and move, I have tremendous growth. I also get to reset. I get to be a new version of me because nobody there knows any different. I'll give you an example. When I moved to Arizona, let's see, this would be 3, 4, 7 years ago, I moved to Arizona. I got to come into town, and I got to come into a market that was had a lot of really successful real estate people. And I got to join some groups there, and I got to mastermind with some people that are top in this industry. That's where I met Brent. That's where I met Jamil. And that's where I met Pace. That's where I met Steve Trang. That's where I met a lot of very influential people in my life. I met them because I put myself in that uncomfortable place, and I moved to that market where they lived. And because of that, I created just these amazing relationships and had all kinds of growth. So that's why I do it. I don't know if I'll keep doing that forever. I'm really setting up roots here in this last move to Tennessee, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll take it one every 3 to 5 years at a time. Okay. I hope that answered your question and gave you some insight on that. Okay, guys, we got about 8 more minutes. Let me see. I didn't get to everybody's questions. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could have. But guys, tell me if you like really hammering the Q&A. It's like really just get after it for an hour and a half. Tell me if you like that format. Tell me if you're learning a lot. Tell me if you got some new nuggets off of this episode here. I hope so. I love talking about this stuff. Sherry Romero, love you, man. I love you too, Sherry. Jerry, thanks for giving live. You're a flipping genius. Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's hit this question here. This is from the I family. I'm just getting started. What is the marketing channel you find is best to start with? Driving for dollars, cold calling. Okay, so I did touch on this a minute ago. When you get started in this business, you have 3 options. You have free marketing. That's agents. That's driving for dollars. Those are the 2 main ones. You have low cost marketing. That's going to be cold calling. Especially if you're doing the cold calling, you're going to pay a little bit of skip tracing. You can go to PropWire, get the data for free. You can skip trace it for next to nothing. Pick up the phone, start calling. That's going to be your low cost method. Then you're going to move into your expensive methods, which is going to be Google Ads, pay per click, maybe pay per lead, PPL, direct mail. That's sort of down the road when you have a marketing budget. I like to start with free, do some deals, reinvest in the low cost, do some deals, reinvest into expensive, and work your way and self-fund your own growth. That's what I believe. So that's why I talk a lot about agent outreach in the beginning. That's why I developed PropWire. It's totally free. I want to create tools and training and resources to help you get started if you don't have capital or experience for marketing. So I actually don't recommend marketing even if you have the money for it, unless you're really good at sales. If you come into this business and you got a strong sales background and you've got capital for marketing, fine. Dive right into it. Have at it. My buddies Tony Mont and Eric Klein, their first year, they did 2.6 million in revenue, their first year wholesaling, but they had business, sales, and capital when they came in, right? So they got to jump right in and just hit it hard. Most people don't have that. I didn't have that. Most people don't. So start with the free, start with the low cost, move your way into the expensive stuff. The more you move in, the idea behind the expensive marketing is it's expensive, but it's also high quality leads that you can convert faster and for higher assignment fees. Okay. That's why those are so effective. Jerry, is that really you? Yeah, it's really me. Howard Wildy. Hey, Jerry, any idea on how many PPC leads till contract? Yeah, you want a general rule of thumb is about 15 per contract. 15 PPC leads per contract is a great conversion. If you're doing under that, 10, 12, that's fantastic. If you go up to 20, that's not too bad. If you're going past 20, then you're going to be spending a lot of money. You got a conversion problem, or your PPC agency is not doing very good. Okay. Wow, there's so many comments, guys, I did not get to. Oh, a lot of great questions here on the format here. Learning a lot. Okay. Okay. Ann Collins said, yes, Jerry, I'm getting many valuable nuggets. Awesome. Marlon Mitchell, is your 555 method on YouTube? Yes, I've done now several videos around that. Look for that on the channel, and I break it down really in some detail. So yeah, for sure. Okay. Love the advice on working to be confident with agents. Needed it. Yes, that's a big thing. Thanks for your knowledge. All right, come on. Let's see here. We can get it. We can get one more in here, guys. You came for value. I'll give it as best I can. Okay. Okay, Hasib Narula. I just became a real estate agent. Sorry. But want to wholesale homes while also being an agent. Is that permissible? Yes, I'm licensed. I have a broker's license, right? But I don't use it for agent stuff. I use it I do, but it's not the main thing, right? The main thing is transacting. It's wholesaling, flipping, investing. So you can do both, but you have to be very, very clear about what hat you're wearing when you meet with sellers or talk to sellers. So if you're representing the seller as an agent, your objective is their best interest, highest price for the seller. That's the role of an agent. If you're representing yourself as an investor, you're looking out for the best deal for you, your self-interest. So you cannot mix the two, and you have to be very clear and disclose that. So if you use my contract, which I'll give you guys, if you go to, I think it's wholesalercontracts.com, I give it away for free. I have very clear language in my contracts about agency. And my role, if I'm licensed, if I'm unlicensed, I want to have I want it to be crystal clear to sellers where I sit in the transaction. Okay. So if I transition into an agent, I make sure it's very clear. If I'm representing myself as an investor, I make it very clear. You have to make that clear. The biggest place where you get in trouble with a license is where you don't properly disclose. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to find one that I can nail out real quick here. All right, good stuff. Okay, Marco Mari, is this possible to do even from overseas? This is a very common question. I have people in my Finder program that live in Europe and Canada and all over. I've actually sent checks to Canada. So yeah, you can. You're going to have to figure out how to bring the money back to your country when you do a deal, right? So where's title wiring the money, and your country of origin may have some requirements to do that. You may have to set up something in the States to do business there. Like, you need to research what your country requires for you to transact outside of your country. But can you? Definitely. I mean, it's all virtual. like, it doesn't matter if you're where I'm at in Tennessee and you're doing a deal in Arizona, or if you're in Poland and you're doing a deal in Arizona, right? Like, over the phone and over the internet and virtual is virtual. You do need to figure out, though, how to transact from your country to the US. Okay, good stuff, guys. We are going to wrap the show up today, and sure loved these questions. Love spending time with you guys. Had a I can't believe an hour and a half went by. I feel like 10 minutes to me. I don't know about you guys, but guys, join us every week. Probably going to see Pace, Jamil, and Brent, or a combination of us four next week. And guys, be sure to subscribe to all of our channels. Go to my channel, Flipping Mastery. Go to Pace's channel, Jamil's channel, Brent's channel. We all try really hard to put out consistent content. I try to put out videos 3-4 times a week, and really just bring the value as much as I possibly can to you guys. And I'm excited for everything that's going on. I'm really excited for this year. I'm really excited for the deals and the business, and just appreciate you guys, all of your love and support. Thank you, everybody, for being such awesome people, such great fans, and just the support you give me all the time. All right, that's a wrap. We'll see you on the next one.